It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You are checking out, I think at this point, this is episode number 1071 of the RCWR show for this January 15th, 2024. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day to many of you all out there, especially my brothers and sisters out there. Special shout out to you guys in the DMV and those of you that are up and down on the East Coast, because depending on where you lived within, like I would say 24 to 36 hours, the snow has come down pretty hard in some areas. I know for out here where I'm at, we got about probably, I would say at most, a little bit over an inch of snow that's staying on the ground. And I had asked my wife to the point, because I was spending my last day finalizing my class schedule for next week, making sure that I got everything up and running as far as textbooks and all that goes, because it's going to be a very busy week for me beginning next week. I said to her, hey, how's it looking out there? Because it apparently was so bad at her neck of the woods when she went out to work that the boss decided to close down the office at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And normally they just go until 7 o'clock in the evening. But this go around, the boss was like, yeah, let's just wrap it up. He made the announcement around 2 in the afternoon that they were going to shut the office down at 4 so everybody could, get home at not just only a decent time, but the refreeze. That's the main issue that's going on. It's not so much about the snow accumulation, which is really nothing, because in many parts of the metropolitan area, going to get anywhere between 2 to 3 inches. But then if you're going a little bit further, I would say northwest, those guys are going to get about 4 to 6 plus inches. And the announcement was made by my girl's boss about a couple of hours ago. Hey, as far as what we're going to do for tomorrow, we're going to just open up, a couple of hours late. As far as whether or not we're going to shut the office down early again, we'll just play it by the ear. But for now, so depending on where you are, it's really, really tricky right now what's going on with that weather. So hopefully you guys, as I had said to you the last time I was on the air, hopefully you all were able, if you didn't have to be out there on the roads, hopefully you were able to just stay at home, let those snowplow trucks go out there, do what they need to do, whole 9 yards and everything. Hey, what did you guys think about this week's WWE RAW, which was headlined by Jinder Mahal, the modern-day Maharaja, taking on Seth frickin' Rollins for the World Heavyweight title? Sound off. Let me know. You can post your comments or you can vote on our poll that we have. We got 2 polls. We got one poll that's open on X, formerly known as Twitter, or you could hop on youtube.com/the RCWR show, click on the communities tab, and you can cast your vote that way. Simple, straightforward, thumbs up, thumbs down, staying in the middle. That's it when it's all said and done. And I took the time out to post for X. I posted that about, I would say, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, both polls, no, the YouTube poll went out a lot sooner than the one on X. I think at this point, the YouTube poll's been out for about 15 minutes. We got a 15-minute head start. The one on X, meanwhile, I put that up about 5 minutes ago. So we'll circle back, see how you all are voting on tonight's WWE Raw. Man, this was what we just came out of as far as the weekend goes. Look, if you were in a situation where you decided, let me take it easy because I don't want to deal with the snow and everything, and you're a wrestling fan on top of that, or just a sports fan in general, there was a little bit of something for everybody over the weekend, was it not? I mean, look, we had New Japan Pro Wrestling. They were doing their thing. WWE had a couple of house shows going on. TNA Wrestling had their Hard to Kill pay-per-view event, and this was the official return of TNA. Okay, we already saw the retro TNA titles just all across the board for the tag champs, the X Division, the women's, the world. We saw all of those get a makeover, and it was a really nice makeover because it's a nice badass throwback. Is it not? I mean, seriously. But we had them doing their thing. Man, I'm missing somebody else. Oh, not to mention AEW. AEW, they did have 3 hours of programming that was going on that weekend. You had, of course, your standard blocks for Collision, and then afterwards you had Battle of the Belts 9. So, and then you had the wild card NFL playoffs. So, I mean, again, there was a little bit of something for everybody that was going on this past weekend. So as far as entertainment goes, there was really no excuse unless you just didn't personally care for any of those things. And I don't know, man, maybe you just wanted to chill, check out a movie or something like that. Then you know what, that's on you. But there truly was a little bit of something for everybody here. Of course, everything culminating in tonight with WWE Raw. I'm chuckling because I'm thinking about what all had happened last week with Tony Khan going on social media, which we talked about at great length and everything. And you know what? Not for nothing, but I will give Tony Khan a lot of credit. I think, honestly, after he had made his rounds, seeing what, maybe some of his favorite podcasters had to say about some of those recent comments that he had made about Jinder Mahal, the WWE product, bringing up cagematch.net and all that other stuff, I would imagine that a lot of people were checking out his social media account tonight, just trying to see, okay, what's going on, and you got something you want to say. Safe to say that as far as how he handled everything last week, obviously he's checking out what the WWE product is doing to an extent, and at the same time taking his little cheap shots where and when he can. And obviously everything that went down last week had seriously backfired. Mom was the word for those of you that maybe don't stay on top of your social media game like that. He was radio silent tonight. One of the last couple of postings that he put out there, one, he had thanked people for checking out AEW Collision and Battle of the Belts from over the weekend. And then the other one was putting over some of the AEW talent that appeared at the New Japan Pro Wrestling event, which we'll go over the quick results of that a little bit later on and everything. But yeah, he's been radio silent. So as far as Raw goes for this week, I'll be totally candid with you guys. This Raw felt staggering to a certain extent. I don't know if you all had kind of got that same vibe, but it just felt a little bit staggering. I know for me, I greatly appreciated how the show opened up. I love the fact that it opened up with Drew McIntyre verbally going toe-to-toe with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. I love that. I ate that up. This was pretty much, because remember, it was just last week we saw Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, and that was a very well-received segment, pretty much universally throughout the wrestling community. I know a lot of people had put over that Drew McIntyre exchange with Punk, saying, wow, didn't know this guy had that much swag, didn't know this guy had that much personality when it comes to cutting promos, didn't know this guy could be that savage, brilliantly savage, why haven't we been getting this all along from Drew? This is actually more entertaining than what we've been getting, for the past handful of years now. And I agree with all of those sentiments, without a shadow of doubt. I agree with all of those sentiments. But you just knew that they had to do something with Drew McIntyre because of how well received that opening segment was between he and Punk. So the fact that they ran it back, but this go round, it was Drew and Cody Rhodes. I didn't mind this whatsoever. As Cody Rhodes, I think Cody Rhodes was in the ring first, and he was asking the crowd in Little Rock, Arkansas, what did they want to talk about and everything. And he talked about how, hey, we got the Rumble coming up. It's just around the corner. And he gets interrupted by Drew McIntyre, and Drew asks Cody straight up, so, yeah, what do you want to talk about, homeboy? What do you want to talk about? And he says to him, look, if you've been listening, then, you know. And he reminds the crowd, yo, Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, these boys, they go way back. How far back? Way, way back. That at one point they were a tag team. And he said to the crowd, shout out if you remember the name of the tag team. And I'm hearing this, and I'm trying to dust cobwebs while I'm hearing this. And I'm going, Dashing Ones? And I don't say it with conviction. I don't say it with confidence. I'm like guessing myself, Dashing Ones? And sure enough, we got Drew saying, Dashing Ones. I'm going, yeah, I'm clapping myself, clapping for myself, patting myself on the back and everything. The Dashing Ones. That's what it was. The Dashing Ones. Talking about how they were in their 20s at the time. Tag champions. Yes, they were even tag champions, even as Drew had highlighted that, saying, look, go back, check the tapes. Like, he ain't telling no lies, basically. Talking about how basically both men were on similar paths, mirror images of one another, how they both had to leave the WWE to truly find themselves and redefine themselves and essentially the industry, so to speak, in the process, and come back and look what happens and everything. Puts Cody Rhodes over big time, saying, look, you did so good for yourself that as far as return goes to the WWE, it was definitely undeniable. So undeniable, WWE called you back. Now, let me ask you guys this. Did you all notice when Drew McIntyre, for those of you that watch, when he said that line, they did a nice close-up on Cody Rhodes' face, and Cody Rhodes just had this look as he was kind of shaking his head. It was almost as if Cody was trying to say, that's actually not how it went down, but you know what? Sure, whatever, man. I'll play along with you. Because legend has it, right? Just in case we need people to get caught up to speed, legend has it that Cody Rhodes and Tony Khan, they were backstage or whatever. There was a phone conversation or something, or they were just among each other. And Cody said something along the lines of, when it was all about renegotiating and everything, Cody said something along the lines of, look, despite everything that's gone on here with myself in AEW, WWE is definitely interested in having me back. And Tony Khan essentially called his bluff, and Cody Rhodes is like, look, I got him on speed dial. Legend also has that Cody Rhodes had showed Tony Khan that he had whoever on speed dial with the WWE. Tony Khan did not believe it and basically was calling his bluff and basically, get out of here. And the rest, as they say, is history. So now, fortunately, Cody is not going to be able to tell us in his own words, right? That's just a legend, right? We got to make sure, because we have to use words like, supposedly, allegedly. Well, legends say. We got to make sure we use that kind of terminology and everything, because we know that Tony Khan likes putting out their NDAs. So, unfortunately, Cody Rhodes may never, ever, ever reveal what really had went down there. But I just like Cody's facial expressions over that. I remember when I saw it in real time, I chuckled. I rewinded it again. I had an even more hearty chuckle going, Cody, like, whatever, dude. Like, anyway. So, Drew McIntyre giving Cody Rhodes his props and everything. Appreciates the fact that, here he is. He left the WWE, find himself, right, came back and, loves all this and everything. And says to him without a shadow of doubt, he will be a future world champion. He will, in fact, finish the story. It's just that as far as what's about to go down at the Royal Rumble in a couple of weeks, well, yeah, no. Drew's first. Drew's got a story that he needs to finish first. So I liked how this all had went back and forth and everything between these two men. Yeah, it was good stuff, as Drew basically was telling Cody, I got to finish mine before you get yours, right? Yeah, doesn't that sound kind of familiar? Just think as far as bedroom talk goes, hey, I got to get mine before you get yours, right? Y'all know how it is sometimes. So Cody brings up that they both have obviously declared themselves for the Rumble. And Drew is like, yeah, he could win. But then Cody's like, yeah, you could win. But we also got to remember that Jey Uso could win. We got a guy named CM Punk that just returned. He's looking to tell a new chapter of his story, right? Try to put a nice proper book in and everything. He could possibly win it and everything. Remember at one point, Drew even brought up a match that he and Cody had. It was, I can't remember whose last match it was. I don't know if it was Drew's or if it was Cody's, but Cody did bring that match up, and he says to him on his way out the ring, yeah, one thing that you failed to mention to the crowd in regards to that last match that we had, singles-wise, who won that match? Basically letting him know that as far as a foreshadowing of things to come at the Rumble, yeah, Cody's pretty much going to make that lightning strike and everything. So it was a really nice back and forth, nice history breakdown, preluding to the WrestleMania event, but really hyping up, putting great emphasis on the Royal Rumble. There's so many directions that we can go just on the male side of things. The male side of the Rumble, I gotta say, it's more intriguing than what's currently going on with the women's side, although we did have a new development on the women's side as Rhea Ripley was in the ring, and she basically, later on in the night, and she was putting the entire women's roster on notice when all of a sudden Becky Lynch interrupted her promo, her talking time, to come out there. And I got to tell you, kudos to whoever it was in the back that suggested Becky and Rhea keep circling one another during this talking segment, because I was watching this with wifey, and I said to her, man, just don't let them size up next to each other, because it's going to look so obviously one-sided, right? Because Becky is just this, she's this cute little petite thing compared to Rhea Ripley, because Rhea Ripley is just this Amazonian type of freak of nature in a good way, type of woman and everything. It just looked like she'll rip your head off. She looked like she could just take a freaking watermelon and just with ease. And I just thought it was kind of smart the way that they had both women in the ring circling around one another. And there was really never that moment where, okay, now we're officially gonna, size up both women and really, but you did notice it was definitely pretty obvious that as far as the height difference, as far as the width difference and everything, that, yeah, Rhea has... You're going, why is Becky in the ring with this woman? This woman's going to rip her freaking head off and everything. So Becky talks about the fact that, she, it's that time for her. Once again, she needs to validate everything that has happened in her career up to this point. She needs to be the women's champion again. And she feels that in order to get back on top of the women's division and be truly the man once again. I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but the main gist is the main gist. Basically saying she's got to go win the Royal Rumble, and when it's all said and done, she's already called her shot. Becky Lynch called her shot tonight in the ring with Rhea Ripley, saying when she wins the Royal Rumble, it's going to be the man versus mommy. To which Rhea Ripley tells her straight up, you know what? You're not the only one that's rooting for that. I'm actually pulling for you. I hope you do win the Royal Rumble. So I'll see you at WrestleMania. So Rhea looking, and I tell you what, man. Oh, man, nothing would please me more than to see. Now I got to admit, because I know longtime listeners, they're going to call me out on this, right? Which is, Lee, didn't you used to want to see Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania for a women's title? Yes, and I still do. I still freaking do. I would love to see that go down. I mean, it seemed this. I don't know what happened, y'all. I really don't know what happened, but we remember, what was it, early last year or whatever? Both women were kind of circling each other over the course of many weeks, backstage segments and everything. It was kind of one of those, I see you, well, I see you too. I see what you're doing. I like what I see. Well, I like what I see too. It's kind of one of those type of deals. And at the same time, well, anything you can do, I can definitely do it better. And then some. So it kind of seemed like maybe we were going to, and for whatever respected reason, the foot was just taken off the pedal, and we've obviously gone in different direction here and everything, right? If you're asking me personally, I would love to see Rhea and Bianca at WrestleMania. I would love to see that. But if in the immediate future, it is going to be a case where we're going to see Rhea and Becky at Mania, I'd be down for the match. So as long as Rhea goes over, because not that Rhea Ripley needs any more further validation for her women's championship reign and all that, but you know, if it's a case where you're really trying to put her on that pedestal where, you know, this is a woman that is in a category, in an elite category of WWE women's wrestlers. If you're trying to do it in a way against Becky Lynch where you're trying to put her on that same level / field as the Becky Lynches, as the Charlotte Flairs, as the Sasha Banks, as insert, then okay, I guess I can kind of buy into it and everything. Especially if you're doing this in such a way where I think it would be an intriguing, fun matchup, Rhea Ripley and Judgment Day, especially if you throw Dominic Mysterio in there and JD McDonough, especially if you kind of throw them in there into the mix and everything, and just have Becky Lynch slap them around a little bit by herself. No, you don't need Rollins. For those of you that's kind of, you don't need Rollins involved in. Just let her, you're right, she's the man. She can pretty much handle her own business and all that. Let her take care of it and everything. But, you know, so nice development there in regards to the women's side of the Royal Rumble. So we see Becky Lynch, we see her plea and everything, why she's got to enter this, why she's got to be the one to go to WrestleMania and everything. We also know that Nia Jax has pretty much called her shot, talking about how she is going to be entering the Royal Rumble, trying to win it all and everything. She's eyeing Rhea Ripley as well. So some nice developments going on there on the women's side. And, you know, the timing of Charlotte Flair's injury, it freaking sucks to no end right now because, man, you know, I know sometimes Charlotte Flair gets a really bad rep, and that's unfortunate. That really is, because when you can just take a step back and you can just truly appreciate, especially in these later years of her career, you know, she's been doing a really good job in trying to help elevate others that she's been working with and everything. If you all have noticed that, the timing of her injury and the fact that she's out, it just sucks right now. I do still feel that eventually Damage Control will kick Bailey to the curb. That will result in a babyface Bailey turn in the process. And, who knows what could happen right there and everything. Which brings me to this point. Damage Control, remember, they're trying to take all the gold. Bailey is still eyeing becoming a women's champion. So she has a story to tell going into the Royal Rumble. Will she be able to fulfill that prophecy? That remains to be seen and everything. And of course, we know Bianca Belair definitely thrown into the mix as well. Automatically she's in that picture, right? So some nice, interesting developments that we've got going on as the Royal Rumble at this point, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Royal Rumble, what are we? Are we over a week away from the Royal Rumble? I'm actually looking it up on the calendar here right now. Bear with me a second, and I will actually tell you. Because I remember hearing the commentators say a week from Saturday. So I think it's happening. So it's happening on January 27th. And let me just pull up this calendar. God damn, time flies. Yeah. It is hard to believe that this month of January, like, here we are, we're halfway done, but, like, it's really hard to believe that just we're going to be done with it already. It still kind of feels like January 3rd, 4th, 5th, even 6th, to me, right? Somewhere in the first 7 days of January, it feels like for me, but, I don't know about you guys, but it is what it is and everything. Welcome those of you that's tuning in live right now. Lee Sanders here of the RCWR show. You're checking out episode number 1071 for this January 15th of 2024. We're live for the next little bit. We're talking Raw Fallout. We're also going to have some wrestling headlines to get into and some sports-related news as well. It was a hilarious segment. We just see him back there. And you know what it reminded me of? Actually, I'll hold that thought. Let me finish talking about that segment. But I laughed my ass off seeing this segment because Damian Priest pops up. And Damian Priest is like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Who told you could be out here selling Judgment Day merchandise like this, man? You're going to get yourself and you're going to get us in trouble. Like, nah, man, I can't be having this wrong. You got to wrap this up right now, yo, seriously. And Truth is like, yo, man, hey, it's all good, man. Like, it's all good in the neighborhood. Why you got to be tripping? And Priest is not having it. I mean, he's getting pretty damn hot-headed. You could just literally see his facial expressions. He's not liking this. And Truth tells him, okay, well, I tell you what, look, before I get ready to shut this down, let me just give you your cut. And the next thing you know, freaking Truth pulls Kanan off of Power, Raising Kanan, and he just gives him this freaking grip of cheddar. And we got Priest going, wait a minute, what is this? Where did you get this from? And Truth is like, this is from what I've been doing, selling your merch and everything. And hey, look, make sure you tell Dom and Tom and Nick, let them know that I got their cut as well. So we're still running with the Tom and Nick, and Priest is like, who? I never laughed so hard, especially when Truth said something along the lines of, he tried to look up Tom on Facebook, but couldn't find him. So he guesses that Tom Mysterio doesn't have Facebook. Okay, whatever. Sure, dude. Okay. But I looked at that and I just popped big time. Because you know what that scene reminded me of besides Raising Kanan? Shout out if you know your TV shows. It also reminded me of that classic episode of Martin where Martin and Brother Man, Brother Man from the Fifth Flow, when they had teamed up and they were, this was right before, I think this was the respected season where Martin was out of a job because he got fired from the radio station. And he basically was like in between jobs or whatever. And so he was working with Brother Man, from the Fifth Flow. He was working with him. They decided that they were going to sell Whitney Houston t-shirts. And it turns out the T-shirts were bootleg, and as far as Whitney Houston's face on them, it had Brother Man's face on them. It just kind of reminded me of that. I don't know if you guys that know your retro TV, if y'all had picked up that same vibe as well, but I just howled with laughter, big time, entertaining. R-Truth has not missed a freaking beat, and you know what? Shout out to Damian Priest. There was an interview that he had gave recently. I wish I could give credit where credit is due as far as naming the show, because you know me, when I hear something, especially if it's a really good interview, whether I watch it or I'm listening to it or I'm reading the transcripts, and I can just tell from the transcript, okay, this actually comes off like a good interview, really good conversation here. I always try to give you guys the 401, give you guys props and everything, and give props to the people that conducted the interview, but their name escapes me right now. But I promise you, I'll bring the name up on Wednesday's show. But Damian Priest was interviewed. Actually, no, correction. R-Truth was interviewed. Forgive me. R-Truth was interviewed. And he talked about how, he was ready to go and everything, and that Damian Priest was the one that went to bat for Truth. Like, as soon as word was around, hey, thinking about this idea where, what was originally just a one-off, Truth and Judgment Day, Priest loved that stuff so much, he went directly to Triple H and said, yo, this is entertaining as hell. This is money. We're on to something gold here. Like, we got to keep this going. And Priest was on top of Triple H and the writers, like, y'all got to keep this going. And Truth had gave a lot of love, a lot of respect to Damian Priest for going to bat and everything, because Truth was just sitting at home, been ready to go. He pretty much said in his own words, look, I'm tired of sitting on the sofa. I know my family was a little bit tired of seeing me. I'm ready to do some stuff. So the fact that, everything played out so well and it was a hit, and everybody in Judgment Day loved working with R-Truth. They want to do more with him. You could just tell that from all sides. It's fun. Not only is it fun, but the respect is there as well. And when you have all of that, it's just a great combination for nothing but good times when it's all said and done. So I love the fact that this is continuing on. So we have that running theme where Truth is like, hey man, here's your grip. Here's your cut from all the merchandise I just sold and everything. So later on in the night, and Jay was funny, we see Priest, he runs into Judgment Day. And I loved how he didn't make sure to tell Rhea Ripley about this. And did you all notice that friction too? Boy, the seeds that's being planted there as far as, who truly is the leader of the Judgment Day. Now we've got Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. They kind of, it almost seems like they can't stay in the same room anymore. And they're now officially passing ships and all of that. It's like they're trying to avoid whatever friction that there already is, rather than make it much worse or make it worse, right? So, but I loved how Damian Priest came in there later on in the night and told the guys, hey, we got to get ready for this tag match. And, hey, make sure you see R-Truth, right? Because he basically said, while y'all out here playing games, R-Truth, he making money for us. And he showed that big wad of cash. And they're all like, where the hell did you get that? Like, it's from Truth. You better go see him. Better get your cut. Tag match. Speaking of the Judgment Day, we're kind of going a little bit off. We're not in order for those of you that watched Raw. And we're just kind of going with the flow, right? Just have fun with it. So we go into the tag match that went down between Awesome Truth, you're keeping track at home, Miz, R-Truth once again. This time they're taking on Damian Priest. I believe it was Damian Priest and, I think it was Damian Priest and Finn Balor that were in a tag team for this one. And the rules were simple because Priest had a request for Truth. He said, look, in our tag match later on tonight, because once again, opposite sides, Priest said to Truth, whatever you do, don't tag into the match. And as Michael Cole pointed out, because Wade Barrett was making a big old fuss about it, hey, shout out to Wade Barrett, by the way. I just love that manly voice of his. Michael Cole, look at this. Look at this big two beefy man. I just love Wade Barrett. He just has that. He's got that nice, good, strong baritone voice. I just love it. Sometimes he reminds me of an Englishman version or a Scottishman version of freaking Barry White to a certain extent. If you love big, sweaty, sloppy, meaty men, it just sounds like a freaking Bond villain when he talks sometimes. But anyway, he brings up the fact that Michael Cole, he says, priest said to say the truth, don't enter the ring, right? And Michael Cole counters right back, and he's like, that's true. He did say to him, whatever he does, don't, he can't tag, but he didn't say anything about he couldn't start the match. And that just sounded like one of those moves where you go, be very, very specific when you're talking to the devil or the genie, because if you're not very specific, yeah, that dream, that wish, it could definitely blow up in your face, right? So it's like, be careful there. So R-Truth, thinking this was another one of those, wink, wink, wink. Yeah, okay. Well, he got shown some tough love by Damian Priest. Damian Priest did not want to, but he pretty much had no choice. He gave him enough warnings, told the man, what the hell are you doing? Stick to the program. Truth, taking it totally out of context, and Damian Priest made him pay for it big time. So tag match, but I mean, this is all about just the fact that R-Truth is involved in this mix, and he's just making it so interesting because you're just wondering which way is this gonna go, because it really could go either way, right? Meanwhile, a Shinsuke Nakamura quick promo about the Rumble. Love this. I love this. Nakamura talked about how last week he could not achieve the desired result. This obviously made him angry, but it also made him hungry. He also has a message for Cody, which is he should keep an eye open because their story doesn't end until he says so. He also talks about now his hunger is on the Royal Rumble, and that he's basically going to be feasting upon the souls of 29 other men that's trying to win the Rumble and go to WrestleMania. Yeah, he's going to feast on those dreams and crush them at the same time. Really, really great, strong promo. Production team in the back, they are continuing to do great stuff there with Nakamura's promos. Keep it coming. Great stuff. One of the low points of the night, I personally feel, for Raw this week was Natalya and Tegan Nox taking on Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark. Yeah, I appreciate the fact that we're trying to show the women's division some love and everything, particularly the tag division for the women and everything. But these are the matches that you want to be highlighting, because this ain't really going to get people talking as far as I'm concerned. So appreciate the attempt and the effort, but yeah, nah, man, you can miss me with that. Some other action on tonight's WWE Raw. For those of you wondering what was going on there with CM Punk, no CM Punk tonight. Very smart how they've been utilizing CM Punk. I gotta admit, I like the fact that CM Punk has been in this position where he'll pop up on Raw, and then maybe we won't see him again for 1 week or 2 weeks. It's been very smart how WWE has been utilizing him, making it feel that much more special when CM Punk pops up for these Raw episodes. I love it. I love it. And honestly, at this point, if you can have it be a situation where it's extremely rare, I like the trend. This current trend that they got going on with Punk, they need to continue to have it be intact. Let it be extremely rare that he wrestles on TV. Let it be extremely rare that he wrestles on TV until we get to that point where the powers that be decide, okay, you know what? We feel good with Punk this go round. You know what? Let's see about making him a world heavyweight champion. then you can talk about having him make more appearances and all that other good stuff. But how they've been utilizing him so far, I love it. I love what they've been doing. Because, I mean, essentially, the guy has been back almost a month, right? Or maybe a little bit kind of over that, give or take. But definitely a month for sure. I like how they've been utilizing him so far. It's good stuff. But Punk will be back on Raw next week. He put out a social media post basically calling out Drew McIntyre saying, hey, I think it's about time that you and me have a face-to-face because we definitely have something to talk about. See you in New Orleans. So that's something very cool to look forward to, especially since that's going to be the go-home show for Monday Night Raw and everything. Some other action, DIY taking on Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. Team of DIY picking up the win there. This tag match, I would have trimmed it a little bit on the length of time. That probably would be my only criticism because this just went on a little bit too long for my liking. It really did. Because, okay, look, granted, right? By the time you get done with the opening talking segment between Drew and Cody, man, that pretty much took you to about, I would say, almost the 8:15 p.m. mark. And then when you came back from your commercials, I would say it was probably almost 8:20. Now you're getting ready to do this tag match. By the time we get to 8:45, you're like, man, would this match end already, right? And that's despite the fact that there was at least 2 commercials in between for that tag match. Yeah, I just felt that it went a little bit too long, but you know what? The crowd, great crowd that was in attendance there in Arkansas, they enjoyed every single minute of it. So mad props to them for it and everything. But, you know, besides that, look, if the only thing I can say is they needed to trim the time a little bit, that's fine. Because honestly, for a tag match and for your Raw opener, fairly decent. I'll give it that. It was definitely fairly decent. Another tag match immediately popped up after that. Chelsea Green, Piper Niven. You see the trend that's going on here? Where this go around for Raw, it was like a big old showcase for the tag division within reason. Because I just gave you guys one tag match. And then we have another tag match here. This time the women's side, where it's Chelsea Green, Piper Niven taking on Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae. Indy and Candice picking up the win. You know, not the greatest. A lot of miscues in this one for my personal taste. Man, I'm glad it was short. I'm glad it was a short match. It was about maybe a little bit over 2 minutes, give or take. Yeah, just one of those type of deals. I mean, don't get me wrong, you had some singles matches mixed in there, but you noticed the trend. You couldn't help but, like, as you get to the end of the night, you're like, wow, we had a decent amount of tag matches that was going on here. Like, oh, okay, cool. Ludwig Kaiser getting a win via DQ over Xavier Woods. You heard me sound a little bit distracted because I just got a notification on my iPad. For those of you that like your politics, forgive me in advance if I mispronounce this name, but it looks like Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy is suspending his GOP presidential campaign after a disappointing showing in the Iowa caucuses. I don't know how many of you guys have been staying on top of the Iowa caucuses news tonight, but yeah, I mean, if you want me to go into it just a little bit more just to get you guys caught up. So you have that literally just broke as far as top stories go. Then apparently like 2 hours ago, Donald Trump cruised to victory in the Iowa caucuses as Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley vie for a distant second place. So there's your talk of politics. I'm not going any any deeper, any more into it than that. Yeah, Ludwig Kaiser picking up a win over Xavier Woods via DQ. It was about maybe almost 7 minutes of a match. I like how this had came about too, because we had a very serious Xavier Woods, right? A nice, strong demeanor of Xavier Woods, who normally when we see Xavier, he's coming out there, he's happy, he's dancing, he's got the trombone and everything, but he's coming out there. Man, you hurt my man. You hurt my man, Kofi Kingston. He's going to be out for the next several weeks. That's not cool what you did. So, you know what? I'm here to challenge you to a match. Let's go. That is, if your daddy will give you permission, Gunther. And by the way, speaking of Gunther, nice to see him back and everything. Gunther letting it be known that while everybody is talking about the Royal Rumble, proclaiming themselves to go into the Rumble and winning it, he pretty much put the entire male roster on notice that last year's Rumble, he started at number 1, and he was just one body away from winning the whole damn thing. And he said straight up, look, I'm going to enter the Royal Rumble this year, and I'm looking to win it, and I'm looking to go to WrestleMania. So, very interesting developments. Again, just on the male side. When you look at the male side for the Rumble, that thing it's fire. It is freaking fire right now. So, I like what's going on. Shout out to Ludwig Kaiser and Xavier Woods. Balls to the walls fun, what they did. Post-match, Xavier Woods grabbing a chair from the timekeeper's area, tries to take a swing. Kaiser comes in with a drop kick of that chair to the face of Woods. Kaiser grabs Woods, drags him over to the stairs, sets him up for a drop kick. Woods pops up out of it, drop kick to the chest, right? Nice little offense that was going on there. Nice little back and forth between the guys. Bronson Reed, backstage, he says that there's someone right now who holds a title in the WWE who doesn't realize that sooner or later it will belong to him. So again, he said there is a man right now who holds a title in the WWE who doesn't realize that sooner or later it will belong to him. If I were to take a guess at who he is potentially talking about, I would say, why not Seth Rollins? Why not Seth Rollins? Seriously, why not Seth Rollins? It makes the perfect sense in the world. It makes the perfect sense. Why not Rollins? Now, some of you guys may say, I don't know. He ain't going after Roman. Oh, right? He's not going after Roman. He ain't going after Gunther. We can forget that. That's not, although that would be interesting, but I just don't see that happening. Right? This feels like Gunther. I'd be shocked. I'm sorry. You got me wishing it was Gunther. No, this screams Seth Rollins. I'd be shocked if it wasn't Seth Rollins personally. Let's see some other stuff from Raw. Just trying to think here. Oh yeah, Akira Tozawa picked up a win over Ivar. Yeah, whatever. Main event match. Yeah, main event match. Jinder Mahal taking on Seth Rollins, World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest coming out with his briefcase. You're going, oh man, is it that time? Is this the moment? Is tonight the night? Oh, little Genesis. Sorry if that went over your head. But just when it looked as though Damian Priest was about to cash in that briefcase. By the way, have you guys seen that hilarious video that is floating around right now of Tony Khan? It looks like somebody did some stuff with the WWE 2K video game. It got Tony Khan backstage yelling going in a yelling contest with Jinder Mahal. It is the most hilarious stuff that I have freaking seen. Shout out to the guy, I think it's Ace of Steel on TikTok or whatever. I know he did a video about 2 weeks ago that was really hilarious, but this one, and I just noticed the little things in the background that's so funny when I'm checking out that video. Like, for instance, he's got Seth Rollins arguing with a can of Pepsi. All right, so you're going, okay, obviously this is CM Punk or whatever, right? And you got Tony Khan that's just going back and forth with freaking Jinder Mahal, Triple H popping up, trying to interrupt it, before things get really out of hand, and just the splicing of audio that was used to set up a very fragile-minded Tony Khan. It was just hilarious. I love it. You really got to go out of your way and check it out. I tell you what, if you go on the Facebook show page right now, I posted it as a reel. You guys will see it, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's the most hilarious freaking stuff, man. But I bring that up because towards the end, we see the referee, and he's like saying the referee is saying to Damian Priest, "Are you sure you want to go ahead and cash in this briefcase? I just want to make sure that this briefcase, which you are holding, that you're handing to me right now, that you want to cash it in, that we're going to do this right here, right now, watching the world of history. If you are going to do this right now, I just need you to verify that you're not a bot and just, figure out what's those little things? Figure out the little, oh God, I can't think of it right now. The little security verification system thing." And you just see in the background Drew McIntyre, who is just continuing to run. He's like in the same freaking spot. He's just like no distance is being achieved. He's just running. It's like he's doing the Running Man, basically. And there was a nice running gag, and then finally just boom, Claymore kick. Hilarious crap, man. It's a hilarious crap. I won't spoil anymore. You gotta actually watch the video, but it's freaking hilarious. But no, we had another instance right here where Damian Priest is ready to cash in the briefcase. Drew McIntyre just hops over a guardrail, gets in the face of Damian. Damian's like, "Okay, after everything, you want to do this crap right here, right now, huh?" And Damian's like, or Drew McIntyre, he's like, "Hell yeah." So they start swinging, going at it left and right and everything. In this sheer, they tried a couple of times to interfere in there while the referee wasn't looking, but all said and done, Seth Rollins getting the job done once again, still holding on to that championship. As far as I'm concerned, Jinder did all that and then some. Look, we all knew that there was just no way, no how, no chance that Jinder Mahal was going to come out. Much like we all know that as far as Hook taking on Samoa Joe for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship goes on this Wednesday's Dynamite, we know that championship is staying right where it is. But as far as trying to proclaim that there was outrage over Hook, like, there was no outrage. Throughout the entire wrestling community, there was no outrage. If anything, there has been so much praise for Hook. Right down to the point. Like, I have been checking out, and we're pretty much done with the Raw review. Like, we went over everything when it's all said and done. So as far as, side chatter talk, like, we're good on Raw and everything, as far as the quality, a bit declining here and there, but kind of stayed mid throughout. This was one of those mid kind of shows when it was all said and done. But, you're talking about Hook there. On the contrary, I'm looking at all of the polling results that has come in so far by you all that have taken the time out to enter the 2023 Wrestling Awards. I kept saying 2024, and it's actually 2023. So I did change it in the system and everything. A lot of you guys have entered, letting your voices be heard. I appreciate that. And I got to tell you guys, If you have not voted yet, you all need to vote. I am not trying to hear you guys go, that's BS. Because the first thing I'm going to ask you is, well, did you vote? And if you say, no, it's like, well, there you go. Come on, numbnuts. Or if it's a case where, no, they shouldn't have won. It's like, okay, well, did you enter a name in this category? And you say, no. I'm going to go, well, what do you think was going to happen, numbnuts, right? So I'm seeing as far as most improved wrestler of the year. So again, I'm looking at the responses. I'm not telling you guys the winner. I'm just letting you know, like, in the instance of newcomer of the year and or most improved wrestler of the year, I'm seeing quite a few nods for Hook. So, that's not quite matching up with this so-called outrage that Hook, is getting this opportunity to face Samoa Joe. Like, I dismissed that as soon as I heard that. I'm like, what the heck is Tony Khan talking about? Like, seriously, I just totally dismissed it. But what you are expecting is a fun, entertaining matchup that could feel as though, this, maybe it could happen. Maybe it just could. Just give you that slight, brief moment of hesitation. Just give you that slight moment of doubt where you go, maybe, just maybe, we could be in for a shocker here, right? Jinder did good, and I know my man Hook is going to throw it out of the freaking park this week. I'm looking forward to that match with Samoa Joe. That should be freaking badass. Seriously, looking forward to it. So, yes, but please do vote. I see so many people that are leaving a lot of categories blank because nothing either comes to mind. I know in one instance there was a female that, and I know it was a female because she left her name and for the responses of worst commentators, she was saying things like, now, be nice. She kind of reminded me, and this is not a knock because I actually love the character, but she was kind of reminding me of Miss Minute, Oh, now that's just mean. Don't be naughty. She kind of reminded me of that a little bit with some of her responses. But I'm looking at that and I'm going, okay, you don't want to answer that question. That's fine. It's just kind of one of those deals where when you answer it like that, or you just leave it blank, I respect it. I respect the fact that people are taking their time out to fill out the things. I just want to make sure for full transparency. Don't be upset when you hear that this person won in this category and it's like you had a chance to let your voice be heard and you left it blank, right? Like that's, and then, you generally have those that, they don't want to mention somebody in a negative light. And and I can respect that too. I can definitely respect that too, but I just want to make sure that as far as when people do take the time out to look at the questions and they fill it out, like the way that I design this isn't no poll thing, right? Because I notice with a lot of those polls, it's one of those deals where, well, damn, my pick isn't here. And then when you give them an option for other, half the damn time, even when you say, okay, select other, please type in answer, people don't type in their answer. So the way I created the poll, it's more like a survey. And you guys are entering physically, you're entering your pick for Wrestler of the Year, Tag Match of the Year. And a lot of you guys have done a fantastic job so far. Some of you guys have really gone out of your way to be very specific. I remember there was a couple of responses, but one in particular that had told me of a very specific tag match that they felt was, for them, Tag Match of the Year. And they gave me the date, they told me the show, and I'm like, and I could easily just picture it in my head going, that was a damn good match. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll freaking buy that. What started off initially as, it looks like we've got a clear-cut winner, like this is a landslide victory for this person. Now that more and more people have been coming across the survey and they've been filling it out, now in some categories, it's starting to look like a very tight race. So if you guys have not voted yet, definitely go cast your vote right now. Now, if you're checking this out via YouTube, you'll see in the live chat that I've already posted the link. You can click on that. The link is also available throughout social media. It's even included in the episode description for the audio version of the show. It's available on demand and download. So check all that good stuff out when you get a chance. Keep casting those votes, though. I'm telling you, like, we've been getting I'm not kidding. A lot of people have been putting in their submissions. I was already telling the wife, I said, yo, I'm going to need your help. I said, because as far as tallying everything up, like, I'm going to need your help. And she's like, how you want to do it? I'm going, I don't know. I think we might need to go the old-fashioned way. And we're probably going to have to do the paper thing and type it in manually and, kind of do it like that and then figure out the percentage that way and everything. But we're going to have it ready in time. For those of you that's wondering when that's going to wrap up, you guys got until Monday, January 29th. And the way I'm picturing it, I will say that, so I have enough time to do, now see, I wonder if the way I should do it, I said the polling would end on January 29th and that the winner for the WWE 2K24 video game will be revealed that night. But I can't help but wonder if I should have it end on the 29th, take that whole week and do tallying, and then reveal the winners and y'all's results on the February 5th edition. So again, the polling and all that would end on the 29th, but we don't reveal the winners for everything until the 5th. I think what I'll do, I'll poll you guys. So I'll poll you guys throughout social media, let your voices be heard, and I'll let that poll run. I'll put it up sometime Tuesday. And let's just say, y'all got until Collision comes on Saturday night. And then that way I can figure out how, if you guys still want it to be on the 29th, then I think what I'll probably end up doing is, I guess I would have enough time. What, maybe about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. Really depends on the volume of submissions I get. But the way it's looking right now, if the current trend continues, it would probably take me about, I'm being honest, it would probably take me about 3 to maybe 4 hours to tally up everything. That's why I'm hoping I can get the wifey's help and everything. But I'll keep you guys posted. But I love the responses so far. You guys have been badass. All right, so I know earlier we were talking about the fact that over the weekend it was really, really busy. TNA had their Hard to Kill pay-per-view event, which I did watch. I watched the extravaganza earlier today. And I was letting my thoughts be heard online. I said, wow, I've really been impressed with what I've been seeing from TNA Wrestling these past several months, right down to the point I'm strongly considering bringing back an old TNA podcast that I used to do. Shout out if you remember, we used to do Impact Showdown. And it was dedicated to the talk of all things TNA / Impact Wrestling and everything. And it was a nice, fun, short show. We would be in and out like 95% of the time. We would go for about 45 minutes. That would cover that edition's Impact Wrestling. We'd get into some TNA news and then boom, that's it. We're out. And I love that show. I love that show tremendously. That show was so popular back in the day that we had quite a few TNA sites. I remember TNA Mecca. Shout out if you remember that freaking site. They had tried really hard to work out some type of an arrangement with me where they would take my shows and basically have them, essentially be the face. They kind of wanted me in part to be the face of TNA Mecca and everything. And I remember when I was just doing my research, finding out what this site was about and everything. And these guys were like laughing stocks to a certain degree because it was all they were an overzealous TNA site. If you had anything that came off to them remotely negative towards the brand, oh man, they would block you. They would do all kinds of freaking crap. And I just remember saying, yeah, you know what, I'm good, thanks, but no thanks. And then they called themselves trying to take some of my TNA news, especially when I would interview TNA talents and everything. They would try to take that and post it on their site and everything. And I would, I told them then, I said, I don't want to have nothing to do with you. Don't even post my stuff, on your site. Like, don't want nothing to do with you. No association whatsoever. And I'll give them credit. They respected it. They respected my content and all that. And they just, yeah, keep it that way. But I did check out TNA Hard to Kill. I might put out a poll asking you guys straight up, look, would you like for Impact Showdown to make a comeback? And I would tell you in 2024, I would definitely have no problem doing a show talking TNA. In 2024, doing that again, like I really have been loving everything that I've been seeing from the promotion, and I've quietly been paying them the YouTube membership subscription. I've been paying the ultimate joint, so I think that's like $4.99, $5.99, or $6.99. I've been paying that so I can check out like any and everything as far as content goes. I'm strongly considering messing with that TNA Plus though, because if that will get me access to watch the pay-per-views on replay, because that's what I'm most interested in right now, is the ability to be able to watch those pay-per-views. Like, at the same time though, I'm trying to do it in a way where it's most financially feasible, reasonable and everything. I'm sure you guys can definitely relate to that. But I did watch a lot of it. I didn't see the pre-show, but, some interesting notes that had happened from that show and everything. Tasha Steelz taking on Alicia Edwards, Giselle Shaw, Danny Luna, Jody Threat, Zaya Brookside. I got to tell you, it was my first time seeing Danny Luna, Jody Threat, Zaya Brookside. And I thought they were pretty cool. Out of those three, the one that really, really stood out to me the most was Jody Threat. I'm looking at her, I'm going, man, she just seems like a more short, beefier looking version of Chris Statlander. And I dig it. I think it's kind of cool and everything. But no, I kind of found her to be the most coolest looking person out of the mix and all of that. I believe that was the what was it? Ultimate X? It was Ultimate X for a future Knockouts title shot. Giselle Shaw picking up the win. I had no problem with that whatsoever. I thought that was the right move because the little bit that I had been checking up on Impact over these past several months, Giselle Shaw just seemed like she was on this steady rise and everything. So you know what? I totally had no issue with that whatsoever. Fun women's match too. Quality wise, I thought it was pretty fun. Nice way to open up things. PCO taking on Dirty Dango. We had some shenanigans that went down in this one by the hands of Ulrich Prudius, who basically was Vladimir Kozlov in the WWE, and Alpha Bravo. This essentially set up a tag match between PCO, Rhino, Jake Something, taking on all three of those other guys. PCO, Rhino, Jake Something picking up the win. I would have to say that of all the matches that I was watching on this Hard to Kill pay-per-view, this one felt like, you know what, maybe you should just had put this on the pre-show, or maybe this should have been a taped match for a future episode of Impact. That's just a vibe I had got. And then we had got an impromptu knockouts tag match, MK Ultra, or defending the titles. They just decided they were going to. This was my first time officially seeing MK Ultra in action, because it's weird because I follow Masha Slamovich on social media. So, I've seen some of her stuff on YouTube that, obviously had made me a fan. And so I ended up following her social media, and that's how I've been kind of keeping tabs. And I know for a lot of people, they may not know the name Masha Slamovich, but they've seen some of those poses she be hitting in the ring, especially when she be getting on top of her opponents. And it's like, oh, that girl, right? Cue out the Leonardo DiCaprio meme in the recliner pointing at the TV with a can of beer and cigarette in hand. But, yeah, this was my first official time, seeing them, live in living color, and they flowed very well as a tag team. I was kind of kicking myself in the ass, wishing I had seen a lot more of them since they arrived in Impact and everything. In TNA, they took on a returning Decays, Rosemary, and Jessica Havoc. I love me some Jessica Havoc. Give me skinny Jessica Havoc. Give me plump size Jessica Havoc. I don't care. I've been a Jessica Havoc fan for some years now. Seriously. I love Jessica Havoc. She is, and Rosemary. It's interesting because I know why Jessica Havoc did not get that opportunity in WWE. We all remember, and for those of you newer, younger wrestling fans, viewers out there, sadly, it was a case where when Jessica Havoc did get her WWE tryout, some controversial posts that she made on social media, years prior had came back to bite her in the ass, and that ultimately cost her a opportunity. Now, being that it's 2024 now, like, because I know the question would be asked, well, things are obviously much different now, and, society tends to be a little bit more lenient, a little bit more forgiving, willing to give somebody that second chance. Could it be a case right here where, now I just think it's a case where even though the woman can still go, now I think it's a case where no, she's a little bit on the older side. That's not me saying that. I think as far as the WWE standards, I think it's sadly a case where they would go, she's a little bit older now, and we bring her on board. There's probably going to be some injury issues, things of that nature. And then I look at Rosemary. My God, I've had a soft spot for Rosemary for so many damn years. Looking at Rosemary going, man, you should have done something in the WWE. What the hell, man? Like, seriously, what the hell? But it was great seeing them back. Pretty short match. It was about maybe 5 minutes and change. New Knockouts champions, Decay. Fine match. Kind of another one of those matches you're looking at going, this maybe should have been on an episode of Impact, quite honestly. TNA made a announcement that they were going to be working with the NFL Alumni Association for a health program. So whether you have diabetes, or you are dealing with maybe some form of obesity, or I don't know, bronchitis, whatever health issue that you got going on, basically TNA working with the NFL alumni, really great. Great turnout, too. Shout out to the good folks at PW Insider. They were saying that as far as the attendance goes, it was sold out. But as far as, how much money was generated at the live gate, how did they do with the pay-per-view buys, that information not revealed just yet. Another good thing that went down on this pay-per-view was the fact that TNA executive Scott D'Amore and the AAA president Dorian Rodlin, they made the announcement that the two companies are going to be working together for future events. So that was pretty badass. It pretty much had set up an X Division championship match as Vikingo. Y'all have seen him a lot in AEW. Vikingo was involved in a triple threat match against Kushida and champion Chris Sabin. Again, for the X Division championship. Sabin retaining. Fun action all the way around. Enjoyed that one a lot. For me, one of my favorite matches out of this pay-per-view was the Josh Alexander taking on Alex Hammerstone. I freaking love Hammerstone. Been a fan of his work. Josh Alexander as well, but I've been a fan of Hammerstone much longer. So seeing these two guys lock up, I'm going, yeah, this was hard hitting. This was hard hitting, balls to the walls. You've seen enough Hammerstone matches. You pretty much know what you can expect, and this definitely lived up to it. And for those that aren't familiar with Hammerstone, this was a really good, proper introduction to the big man and everything. And he took it to the former TNA World Heavyweight Champion and then some. Really great stuff. I got to give a lot of props to my man Alexander. He made Hammerstone look like an established future TNA star. If an arrangement is made where Hammerstone decides he wants to work with TNA on the regular. Tag team titles, ABC retained against the Rascals, Grizzled Young Veterans, Laredo Kid, and Speedball Mike Bailey. I've always had a soft spot for the Marvel character Speedball, so the fact that this kid names himself Speedball is pretty badass. Fun-paced action right there, no issue with that one. Of course, what's got a lot of people talking, well, one of three things from this pay-per-view is the Knockouts Championship. Jordan Grace reclaiming it once again as she took it off the hands of Trinity. Basically, Naomi, WWE, has a lot of people wondering whether or not Naomi is getting ready to come back to the WWE. And the way things are standing right now, there is no definitive answer. I know PW Insider, they went on record saying that, yeah, although it may appear that, maybe she's wrapped things up with the company, you got to remember, between, I think it was yesterday, today, and maybe a couple of more days this week, there's going to be some more TNA tapings because they got to do what they need to do. Taping a whole bunch of shows going into, next couple of weeks till they go into their February pay-per-views and all that. So I would like to believe that as far as Trinity news goes, if she's going to be doing a couple of more matches for TNA, we should hear about it this week. But there's all this chatter going around that she lost the title. This is, for some people, obviously a sign that she's going to be going back to the WWE. Maybe Trinity/Naomi is going to be returning as soon as the Royal Rumble. That's what a lot of people are thinking. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. One thing is for certain, Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, she was in attendance, as well as Bailey. They solely were there because they're friends with Naomi/Trinity, obviously. Just wanted to, and they actually know some of the people on the roster. So, they're just there supporting their friends and, also having a good time as well and everything. TNA World Heavyweight title, Alex Shelley losing it to Moose. Love that Moose. Love that Moose. I also love the fact that, look, Moose, man, I remember how hard I was back in the day for Moose as the TNA champion. And I still remember that one epic story arc that he had. It was one of his best arcs where he basically dusted off some championship and he was running around calling himself the real world champion and all that. And that was one of my favorite time periods for the company, but also for Moose and everything. And Moose, telling you, you give that brother a chance, he will definitely take it. And this was a classic bout. This was truly a classic bout because when you really looked at this match at its core, this was a perfect example of here's a powerhouse juggernaut of a beast taking on the speedster and Alex Shelley, right? That was badass. We had the woman formerly known as Dana Brooke make her TNA debut. She was in the stands. I can't remember what she's calling herself now. Armjor Rays. I don't know what the hell it is, but I'm just looking. I'm going, okay, she's in TNA. Whatever, you know. We'll see what happens, right? But for me, seeing Nick Nemeth, the man formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, pop up at the very end, like Moose isn't even able to celebrate that long as Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler, super kicks the hell out of Moose, then runs into the crowd and rips off his Ziggler shirt to reveal a TNA wrestling shirt to end the show. Man, visually, that was just really badass, and I just couldn't help but nod my head and go, well, good for freaking Ziggler. Seriously, good for the man. You know, it's a smart move, him going to TNA wrestling, because, you know, and I'll tell you the reason why, because I know some people are probably going to be looking at that move, and they're probably going to be going, yo, why didn't this guy go to AEW? Like, Tony Khan definitely would have paid him what he's worth. He would have gotten his money and then some. And I agree, especially if you want to take it a step further and say, look, you know, Ziggler in AEW, man, just what he could do for those young kids, what he can do from a developmental standpoint. Basically, have him slide into the old QT Marshall position. Be right there with Tony Khan. Like, man, come on. And I get that. I really do. But if Dolph Ziggler isn't quite at that stage in his career right now where he wants to be in that QT Marshall role, right? Be more on the production side than an actual talent. You know, he wants to instead, you know, continue to be in front of the cameras, entertaining the masses. Then at that point, it's okay. Well, that's great, especially when you still got the look. You can still freaking go. Then it becomes a case of where will you be most utilized properly? And as we all know, when it comes to Tony Khan, you know, I was if not the first, I was among the first from years back when I did the Awesome Con panel, and I referenced Tony Khan, you know, just playing with these toys and everything, right? And now we've got all these, and I love them. I love all the memes and stuff that's popping up with Tony Khan and everything. Khan's story, right? Tony's story, right? You got the toys and all that. You know, Ziggler in AEW, that would have been hot for maybe 1 month. And then that's it. That's it. I mean, he would have been doing so much, like, it just would have been a disservice to the man at the end of the day. So the fact that he is in TNA wrestling, where he can automatically slide into a marquee spot and be one of not just the main faces for TNA, but can also command being involved, guaranteed, in one of a handful of story arcs weekly. It's a damn good move. It's a damn good move. And from what I've heard about that guy, he's very smart with his money and all that. So, you know, to the point, you know, for him at the end of the day, this might have not even been about money, but just, yo, where can I actually go and, you know, put in my work, opportunity to shine and work with a really damn good, talented roster. And I would like to believe, I would like to believe that he most likely put some feelers out, talk to some of those former WWE heads that's now in AEW, and they probably gave it to him right between the eyes, told him what's really going on, and he's like, okay, all right, cool. I would not be surprised. Seriously, I would not be surprised. But a really good pay-per-view. I'm going on and on about TNA because, and I'm not the only one. Many of my colleagues in the podcasting world have all, for months, collectively, for months, but definitely after the Hard to Kill pay-per-view, we're all going, yo, if there was ever a time to get back on the bandwagon, start checking out TNA wrestling again, like, y'all need to be on it now. You don't have access to Access TV, so you can watch weekly episodes of it. Okay, well, you should be able to dig up at least $1 a month. $1 a month over on their YouTube channel will guarantee you episodes of Impact Wrestling. There's like a 30-minute delay from when it initially airs on Access TV to basically when it airs on YouTube. But, I mean, a 30-minute delay, that's it. And then afterwards, you can pretty much watch it anytime. Ain't got to worry about no commercials. Oh, yeah, sign the brother up. Go ahead. $1? You can't beat that. Seriously, you can't beat that. Just imagine if like 100,000 people pledged $1 just for their YouTube channel so they can check out Impact Wrestling, be on top of the product and all that. You feel me? So definitely get on top of that. All right, some other stuff we can get into here on the show. Shout out to Lana CJ Perry. She had provided a new health update. Because remember, we were talking last about, it was last week, we were talking about an infection that she had got on another finger. And she talked about what had happened. And apparently there was a relapse with the MRSA infection because the antibiotics, they stopped working. So she had to be rushed to the hospital. And they basically dug scabs and fleshes and pus and skin. I mean, really, she went into some graphic details. And now for the next several days, she's got to clean it out, bandage it up, continue to take her antibiotics, let the doctors check on her finger, make sure everything is okay, especially as far as the healing and all of that. And hopefully, she'll be in the clear, because I would imagine if they can't get this under control, then ultimately it's probably going to be a situation where they're going to have to amputate, I would imagine. Of course, I'm speculating, so I could be wrong, but I would imagine that, if the antibiotics and all that, if it doesn't work, that may be something that, is going to have to be considered and everything. But definitely wishing her a speedy recovery. Also, while we're talking about speedy recovery to Cora Jade. The timing just sucks. Homegirl has suffered a torn ACL over the weekend as there was an NXT house show. And she tore that bad boy up pretty. And if you know a thing or two from doing research on torn ACLs, typically as far as the recovery time, we're talking anywhere between 6 to 9 months. It just really depends on how well the healing process is going and how well the rehabbing is going, right? But, 6 months is really, if everything works right and, you're really, but 9 months at the very latest. And this just comes at a really bad time because she just recently came back to the NXT brand after being away for, just a hot little bit. It wasn't that long, but she was gone for a little bit. And it brought up this interesting question in the forums about, what is going on here? It seems like as of late, some of these women or just wrestlers in general, they are getting injured left and right. Like, what the hell is going on? And when you do your proper research and everything, I know as far as the women goes, for female, it's not just wrestlers, it's just female athletes in general, as they're more susceptible to knee injuries as opposed to us men. And that's the main reason why is because women have much more of a wide range of motion when it comes to the muscles than the men. And then when you're talking about the knee area, the ankles area in particular, those don't have as much muscle mass, if that makes sense, as as the males, as us men do, right? If that makes sense at all and everything. So it's unfortunate, and it's like 8, 9, 10 times as far as those particular type of injuries for women, like 8, 9, 10 times more likely to happen for the women as opposed to the men. So it's very unfortunate. But Cora Jade, definitely speedy recovery, hun. And it sucks too because she just recently celebrated a birthday. I think her birthday was, if not over the weekend, it was literally right before the weekend. So to have that all go down, it just freaking sucks. Speedy recovery to Austin Theory. I wasn't aware of this because I did not watch SmackDown yet, but Austin Theory is in medical protocol following an accident that had happened on SmackDown from last week. Apparently, Theory and Carmelo Hayes, they had their match stopped after Theory had attempted a Spanish fly and had a awkward landing, as Theory had apparently fell on his head. Now, WWE had said that both men are okay, but apparently Austin Theory has been put in a medical protocol. And medical protocol is basically what happens when a concussion or other serious injury is feared. It basically means, in a nutshell, the wrestler will be protected and won't take certain bumps until they're cleared to return. So I would imagine just at this point, Theory is just going to be either they keep him off TV for a week or two, or the man just he comes back. But as far as in ring action goes, they're not going to let him do that. He'll just be on the microphone talking trash or whatever. Just all this weird, just injuries left and right. That's going on with some of these people. Sincerely to everybody, hope y'all have a speedy recovery. Did you hear about the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan? Him, his wife, and a friend of theirs out in Florida. I don't know if they were driving, maybe on their way home or whatnot, but they were driving and they had helped out a teenager, a 17-year-old that had flipped their car basically. And, you're looking at that and you're going, oh, snap, what the hell? Now, remember, the Hulkster, he just recently got married and, he's trying to, not a Jehovah's Witness, but this woman that he is now married to, she is deep into the whole Scientology and all that. So, this is the path that he's trying to go down and everything. And a Hulkster and the male friend of theirs, they pretty much were quick to grab some tools, and I think they had destroyed an airbag, and they did everything that they needed to do to get the kid out of the vehicle and everything after it had flipped over. And paramedics, they did arrive, and the 17-year-old was said to be rattled, but was otherwise fine. So that is great to hear. The pictures that I had saw online, the car looked really, oh my God. I honestly, when I saw the picture, I'm going, well, damn, I'm really surprised that somebody was able to walk away from that just rattled. Because I'm telling you, when you look at that car, you're going, that's it? They're just rattled? Now, I know that there are a lot of folks that's out there. I know that there's a lot of folks that's out there that look at the Hulkster and, they're very quick to go, oh, that racist piece, and all this other stuff. And look, hey, I'm right there with you all. Sincerely, I'm right there with you all. I will say that Hulkster and his wife, They could have easily just kept on driving. Somebody called 911, and that could have been the end of that. That could have been the end of that. I do not believe in my heart of hearts that the Hulkster did what he did to chase some type of clout, to chase some type of good publicity. I don't believe that was the case at all. I sincerely believe, and look, before anybody jumps on the bandwagon and want to label me a certain thing, hear me out and really understand where I'm coming from, and particularly newer listeners out there. Veteran listeners will remember this, but for you newer listeners out there,
baby.
baby. For you newer listeners out there, I was involved in witnessing a really bad car accident last year during the summer. And I remember, I luckily I don't have nightmares, but it still plays in the back of my mind from time to time, especially when I'm driving. And I'm a relatively new driver. I'm not going to be coming up on a full year as a driver until March. Okay. But me and my wife, we were coming home one night. We had just got done doing a Instacart order. Because from time to time, I'll do an Instacart order. And it was about almost 11 o'clock at night. We're driving on 270. She's behind the wheel, and I pretty much was just, providing her directions on Google Maps and everything. We had this white car that drove past us on 270. We must have been going about maybe 55 miles an hour. This white car, and I was able to see when it passed us, it had Georgia tags. This white car that passed us it came from my right side, sharply had cut in front of us. It must have been going at least, if we were going 55 miles an hour, this car had to have been going at least 20 miles plus. And I said to wifey, what the hell? I said, the way that guy is driving, he'd be on cause an accident. Sure enough, about 10 minutes later, we come up on this horrific scene where there is two dark vehicles that, I mean, man, airbags, busted glass, smoke. And then we see this white car that's off to the far left that basically is smashed up against the barrier. And, there's like this black guy that's out, we're driving and everything, and there's this black guy, he's waving at us, and, and he's yelling, he's like, there's kids in the car, And I said to wifey, I said, look, I said, here, do we have any tools in the back that we can use? She's like, I don't know. I don't really know. And I give her the phone. I told her, I said, look, call 911, like, in case they don't know, like, call 911. And so I go back of the car. I think at this point, I think at this point she was pushing I'm pretty sure at this point she was pushing her SUV, her Volvo SUV. So I go in there, I'm checking, like, I can't find anything. And all I'm thinking about right now is trying to help whoever is in this car. And at this point, all I know is there's kids in the car. That's all I know right now. There's kids in the car. That's all I needed to hear. There's kids in the car. So me, the guy that initially flagged me down, and then like two other black guys and one of the guys' wives, we're all trying to do everything that we can to get these people out of the car. We pulled out a kid that was in a baby stroller. We pulled out another kid that was in a car seat that was luckily strapped, seat belted. We got them out. They were crying and everything. There was a guy that we pulled out. There was a woman that we pulled out. The last person that we were able to get to was the female on the driver's side, because she was really, really sandwiched in there. And there was, not to be too graphic, but there was so much blood. There was so much damn blood. And she was the last one that we were able to get to because of the predicament she was in. But, we finally were able to get her out. And with us, she had a pulse. But sadly, by the time EMS, fire department, were able to get to her, they were trying to give her CPR. And, I had learned pretty much late, not really later that night, more so first thing in the morning. Because over here, the news comes on at like 4 in the morning. I had learned that, she died. So it was like, so pretty much when I saw them trying to do CPR, like, she was dead at that point. Like, they, as far as I know, they never were able to resuscitate her and everything. And I say all this for full context. I say all this, it's not to put myself over or anything like that. I say this to say there is nothing more haunting. There is nothing more, oh my God, like, what the hell is going on? There is nothing more than when you see a car accident. And to be that person that just drives off when you see that there is something really bad that has played out before your eyes, regardless if you see some type of movement or not. God damn it, it's just the right fucking thing to do. To just pull over, check on the person, do whatever you can to make sure that you get them out of harm's way. I know for us, when we were doing what we were doing, we were fighting against the clock because the cars were starting to smoke. The cars were starting to smoke. We literally had our women saying to us, get the hell away from the car. Do what you got to do. Get them the hell out of the car. Like, it's smoking. It's going to go up in flames soon. Like, hurry the fuck up. So you're not going to find me saying anything bad about the Hulkster in that particular situation. I do believe in my heart of hearts that him and all those people, I believe their heart was in the right place, and they were trying to do what they were trying to do to make sure that that kid, was safe. Because at the end of the day, that's somebody's kid. That's somebody's kid, right? Now, that in mind, I will get on that ass when it comes to the talk of Hogan, because I just don't understand this for the love of me. I love my friends and sisters in the podcasting world, but I will never understand the attraction. Well, maybe I do understand it within reason, but some things just don't make sense to me. I don't understand why my friends and colleagues and everything in the podcasting world are always trying to defend JD from New York. Now, before anybody says, Lee, just worry about what you're doing. And look, I'm minding my own damn business. I'm on social media. I can't help who I'm friends with on social media, and they share something and it's in my timeline as a result. And it's like, well, let me click on this. Let me see what's going on here. So I come across this 39-second video of JD. And he's going on this rant about the Hulkster. And I want to play for you guys this clip, because I'm listening to this clip. It was just one of those, what the hell is going on here? All right, so let me play this for you guys.
The reason why you're fucking... I don't give a fuck what you think of Hulk Hogan. The reason why you're fucking here is because of Hulk Hogan. The reason why I'm a fan of WWE is because of Hulk Hogan. I don't give a fuck what he did in his personal time. You can't take away what he did for the business. You can't. So we're just going to break records now because you deem him a racist. I'm sorry, man. It doesn't work that way. Fuck your cancel culture. Fuck your millennial bullshit. Roman should not break Hogan's record because you deem Hogan a racist.
Let me just rewind that back.
Culture, fuck your millennial bullshit. Roman should not break Hogan's record because you deem Hogan a racist.
So that's apparently a clip that was put out. And, originally it was the great Brian Lass from the Jim Cornette podcast. And I saw Matt Coon also had chimed in as well. Both of these people are folks that I follow. I know me and Matt Coon, we're Twitter buddies, or X, formerly known as Twitter buddies. Brian Lass, love that guy. Great personality, nice, great booming voice, and very insightful. Tells it how it is, right down the middle, and everything. And I'm looking at this, and I responded to it. I said, I do not understand why some of my friends in the podcasting world like this man and defend him. This bad take, also blown way out of proportions. And the late, great Mr. Bruno Sammartino holds the record. Then, now, and forever. Bump all that noise. And, I understand what Marlon had to say, because he saw my post. And, he's like, who is the man to get mostly everyone to be a wrestling fan? That's Hulk. Like, see, understand something, folks. Nobody is trying to take that away. Like, this whole thing about, yeah, but it was the Hulkster that, like, first of all, my God, where do I even begin with this? Because this just sounds so goddamn. Okay, so by JD standards, let me just make sure I'm understanding this right. So is it okay that even though Chris Benoit had killed his kid and his wife, is it okay, like, bump all that noise? Benoit needs to get his flowers. He should go into all the freaking Hall of Fames, including the WWE Hall of Fame. He should get that nod and all of that. Again, just based off what JD said, like, and just going off of his standards. And then you want to talk about cancer culture and all this other stuff. Let's really make sure that for full context, people, we're really letting the record be told, which is this. Remember, it was 2012 when the Hulk Hogan sex tape had went down. There was no cancel culture that was running around back then, and when 2012 went down, that Bubba the Love Hogan sex tape had came out. This was just pretty much, wow, we're seeing the Hulkster at his lowest. Wow, can't believe this dude is conducting himself in this fashion, and whoa. But then remember, 2015 is where things really had got very damaging for the Hulkster, because there was audio that was leaked, if you guys recall, where the Hulkster had went on a race rant over his daughter dating a black man. For those of you that need your memory jogged, Hogan is heard spewing hate speech in a conversation about his daughter, Brooke Hogan, and then at that time her black boyfriend, where he said, and I quote, I mean, I'd rather, if she was going to some I'd rather have her marry a 8-foot tall worth $100 million, like a basketball fucking. So, and if you remember, WWE, shortly after that had came out, they had terminated the Legends contract or whatever with Terry Bollea, the Hulkster. WWE saying that they're committed to embracing and celebrating individuals from all backgrounds, as demonstrated by the diversity of our people, performers, and fans worldwide. And then remember, Hogan tried to follow that up with it kind of came off like a justification apology or whatever, saying, and I quote, 8 years ago, I used offensive language during a conversation. It was unacceptable for me to have used that offensive language. There is no excuse for it, and I apologize for having done it. This was a statement that he gave to the folks over at People Magazine. He went on to say, this is not who I am. I believe very strongly that every person in the world is important and should not be treated differently based on race, gender orientation, religious beliefs, or otherwise. I am disappointed with myself that I use language that is offensive and inconsistent with my own beliefs. So again, he's saying 8 years ago is pretty much when, he had said these things. So, and this initially came out in 2015. So that would have been 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, like 2007, 2008, basically, is allegedly when these comments that he made initially went down and everything, right? Now, I'm saying all of this for full context because understand that 2012 to 2015, we didn't have cancel culture in full bloom. We did not have a situation where, man, your life, your career as you know it, it's basically destroyed overnight. It wasn't running as rampant as it is right now, right? There was no Me Too movement yet. Harvey Weinstein was still, right? Something was brewing with Harvey, but, he was still, he still had his production company and still doing pretty good and all of that other crap, okay? So for JD to talk about, cancel culture, like, no, cancel culture did not play any type of a negative role in whatever blemishes, if you want to call it that, or black eyes that had happened in Hogan's life. These were self-inflicted wounds when it's all said and done. I know in regards to the Bubba the Love Sponge tape, hey, Bubba, he set up the Hulkster. He set up the Hulkster. In regards to the audio tape, and let's not also forget, there was that phone call, that infamous phone call that the Hulkster had with his son, Nick Hogan. And they were, Hogan was telling him, hey, that sucks what happened to your friend. And remember that? I mean, he said some foul, messed up stuff about that kid that was Nick Hogan's friend. And, the kid's messed up for life. For life. That wasn't a case of cancel culture or however else you want to dub it, because where Nick was serving his respected time or whatever, all calls at that county jail, where he was staying, all calls are monitored and recorded. All calls are monitored and recorded. And I guess somebody, now where it was kind of, WTH, is the fact that somebody had, released that call to TMZ or whatever, and the rest, as they say, was pretty much, but all of these things about the Hulkster that had came out, this isn't a case where something was started up on social media. No. These were pretty much self-inflicted wounds. So let me see if I got this straight. So there's a narrative that's out there that for some people, they don't want to see Roman Reigns surpass the Hulkster's record. And they're under the impression that the reason why Roman is going to surpass the Hulkster's record is allegedly because of these racist rants and all kinds of other stuff from the Hulkster from the previous years. We can't just let this be the idea of maybe, look, we are into some really fun, fascinating stuff that's happening with Roman Reigns right now. And, man, with the top heavy talent that is on the WWE roster right now, there is much more storytelling that can be done in incorporating Roman Reigns. We're not just going with, because, I mean, when you really stop and think about it, for those of you that haven't been keeping track of Roman Reigns' record and all that other stuff, I've actually done a little bit of research. I did it right before I came on the air. Shout out to Sportskeeda. Normally, I don't particularly, but yeah, their article had came up. I skimmed it, and I said, okay, this looks kind of, and then I sat down and read it, and I said, okay, this is the information that I wanted to know. This was posted a little bit over 2 days ago. 2 days ago, okay? So on January 21st, 2024, Roman Reigns will complete 1,238 days as the Universal Champion. Now, by doing that, he'll hold the 4th longest world title reign in WWE history. Again, the 4th longest title reign in WWE history. Bruno Sammartino right now holds that current record. His record is 1,237 days. Remember, his reign had went from 1973 to 1977. Okay? Now, as far as who's next, right? To quote Bill Goldberg, who's next? Okay? Let's say that when it comes to this Royal Rumble Premium Live event, Roman Reigns goes past that, gets the Bruno Sammartino joint. Okay, what's next? He'll have to target 2-time WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan. This is what has people talking right now. Hogan's WWE title reign lasted 1,474 days back in the 80s. So when you're thinking about the Rock and wrestling connection, the relationship that WWE had with MTV, and look, make no mistake about it, you know, as far as, you know, what JD was talking about, and that's the thing, that's never been the issue as far as the Hulkster introducing, you know, kids, you know, generations of wrestling fans. You know, you ask any product child like myself from the 80s, hey, you know, who was your go-to wrestler or wrestlers in the 80s? What got you into the wrestling? You know, a lot of us would have said Hulk Hogan. To not mention that name, you know, it's kind of one of those, you's a damn liar, you know, to a certain extent. You know, yeah, like, yeah, when you think of wrestling, especially during that time in the 80s, like, who wasn't a Hulk Hogan fan? That's not the issue. That's not even the issue. That's not even a question. This whole thing about the Hulkster, oh, they're doing this to him because of the racist stuff, and I beg to differ. I don't even think this is about trying to take away from the Hulkster. I really, really don't. I think that is the farthest thing. Like, it's not even a thought in the minds of WWE. You ever just maybe stop to think that maybe, just maybe, what's going on right here is, yo, we're chasing history here. We are white hot still with Roman Reigns. There's so much more storytelling that we can do with this guy, contrary to how some people may feel. The future rivalries that we have down the pipeline with this guy as still as champion. Then, not to also mention that this is Triple H's show now. It's no longer Vince McMahon's. Vince McMahon is just basically kicking back, collecting a paycheck now. So this is Triple H's bad boy. So he can pretty much take this as far as he wants it to go and everything. I personally don't think it's going to go that damn far. I personally feel, and I'll go on record, I personally feel that Cody Rhodes will finish the story at WrestleMania. I feel that he will beat Roman Reigns and he'll become the new WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion. Flip those words however you want to flip it so it makes sense, because I know it's got like all those long names next to it, right? But Hogan's WWE title reign lasted 1,474 days back in the 80s. So that means in order to get that record, surpass it, Roman would pretty much have to, like, my God, Roman would have to go pretty much into next year. Folks, that's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. Just not going to happen. I don't know what more you need me to say. That's not going to happen. Yeah, he will definitely get the fourth joint, but as far as surpassing the Hulkster, no, that's not happening. That is just way too damn long to be holding on to the title and just so you can surpass, because then it becomes okay, well, if you're going to do that, why not try to surpass Bruno? And you can forget that. You just, like Bruno's real true title reign, like you can forget that. Ain't nobody surpassing that one, the official title reign, right? But the fact that we're going down this path about the Hulkster and cancel culture, and I just felt that narrative that was painted to try to make the Hulkster, to even slightly even paint the idea of putting the Hulkster in a sympathetic light, trying to make him come off to be some type of a sympathetic figure. Nah, man, you can miss me with that BS. I'm not buying that. Right? I always talk about on this show self-accountability. All right? And I've gone on record for years. Hey, I see this man running around trying to issue an apology left and right, but his actions. And it's like, it's not, his actions, I ain't feeling it. There's like a lack of. It just feels hollow. It just feels like he's just doing it just to be doing it. And then it's like, damn, what more do you want from me? I apologized. All right. And there's some people in the wrestling community that wonder why I talk a certain way or I bring up certain things that maybe has to do with race and all of that. And that's because when I'm reminded of stupid things like this that's being put out there, and sensitive things that's being said, I promise you take this crap that JD had said and put that in front of a black community of wrestling fans. They will have more unpleasant, unkind, unsavory things to say about JD defending that man than what I laid out here tonight. I get that JD is a shock and value kind of guy, and he plays the game brilliantly. I'll give him that. A lot of the stuff that he puts out there is for shock and awe, but I sincerely believe he believes this. It was just a really, really bad take. A really bad take. Anytime you've got Matt Coon and Brian Lass calling you out and essentially saying, yeah, that's a bad take. Enough said. Seriously. Enough said. That's as bad as the news report I was watching earlier today. Not to get political. I was watching the news with my wife earlier today. And we saw this one segment where there's this young white woman. She was probably in her 20s. And she said, anybody that doesn't vote for Trump, they're not a friend. They're not a friend of mine. I can't be friends with them. My friends know this because all my friends, they love Trump. And me and my wife, we just looked at each other and it was like, wow. Like, can you imagine if we would have operated that way growing up as kids in the 80s, going into the 90s? What type of music do you listen to? Oh, I listen to Megadeth, Metallica, Anthrax, Cinderella. Oh, we can't be friends because, I like George Michael, Culture Club, Tears for Fears. Yeah, that's too violent for me. I think you might go and, like, kill a bunch of people or something. We can't be friends. My friends are only those that like those artists that I like. Can you just imagine if we operate that? I mean, that would just be so... And I thought friendships ending over a game of Madden was bad. Like, this just takes it to a whole new other level, as far as I'm concerned. Let's see some other stuff we can get into before we get ready to roll out. Teddy Hart. Give you guys an update on Teddy Hart real quick. Looks like he's getting another continuance in his ecstasy possession case. Looks like a hearing regarding Teddy Hart's charges on ecstasy possession and more has been delayed once again. Hart was set to have a hearing January 11th. Obviously, that's come and gone. It was on the charges of possession of ecstasy and possession of a controlled substance without a prescription. That hearing was listed as a mandatory appearance on Hart's behalf for early resolution, a division that identifies potential candidates for early plea deals. Now, according to PW Insider, Hart's defense team requested and received a continuance from the court, with the hearing now scheduled for February 8th. The judge in the case noted that this would be the last continuance granted for the defense team. Remember, he was arrested back July of last year in Florida and charged with the charges we mentioned earlier, both of which are third-degree felonies. So that's the latest development. Again, this is in Florida, so we saw how things went down with Liv Morgan, and it seems like the charge was dropped for the vape pen thing with the what was that? The I don't know, K-Spice, whatever substance was going on in there. It looked like they dropped the charges for that one, but it looks like she's gonna be just fine. Sunny, we saw. You don't want to play around with Florida. I take it that Sunny is not gonna have it so good. I'm sorry, not Sunny, but Teddy is what I was trying to say. Teddy ain't gonna have it so good out there in Florida. More on that as it develops. We were talking about Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler earlier. Looks like he's going to be having a match against Matt Cardona for the GCW promotion. It's going to be coming up at the Coldest Winter 2. I'll remind you guys of the event as we get closer. Looks like that event is going to be going down during the first week of February. But the way it's looking right now, besides the two of them fighting one another, also scheduled to appear is Nick Gage, Blake Christian taking on Dark Sheik, Hammerstone versus Charles Mason. Su Young taking on Santana Jackson, Gringo Loco, Bussy, and more are going to be. That's the first time I've ever said Bussy out loud. I hope that's the last time. Well, I know I'm going to have to mention it one more time, right? I'm definitely going to have to mention it one more time. Definitely for reading the final card and all that. But, yeah. Other than that, that is pretty much it. So we've got another show in the books. Hey, before I go, I kept meaning to show this to you guys, but I kept forgetting. And if you guys remember, I had said to you guys for Christmas, I had got a really cool autographed CM Punk, and I had described it as a poster because I said to you guys, it's not an 8x10. It's more so a poster. I got it by the good folks over at Signed by Superstars for Christmas and everything. And here's how it looks for you guys. This is so badass. So this initially was obtained, I believe, in mid-November by the family. I'll just zoom in on this for you guys here. And I'll make sure I take a picture and post it on social media so you guys can see. I don't know if you guys can kind of see right up in there, like right up in here. But the autograph is in that area. Like I said, I'll take a picture and post it online and everything. But it's freaking badass. And this is a official WWE autograph. Much like if you follow WWE on social media, I know you guys have typically seen Cody Rhodes. He's sitting down at a table and he's just spending about an hour or whatever just doing the autograph. And apparently they got CM Punk to do that. So I am definitely going to get the dimensions down. I don't know, man. This looks like maybe it could be, I'd hate to speculate, but this looks like it might be 14 by 15 as far as the dimensions go, or 14 by 18 or something like that. I got to go to Michael's and figure it out, but I'm definitely going to be hanging it up in the very near future. Looking forward to it. So, and then, oh yeah, something else I wanted to show you guys. This is really, really cool. I had got this for Christmas as well. So this is what you're looking at, is a Bronze Age bat suit. And I think this is part of the Diamond Select line or whatever. And wifey was telling me, she said, you're going to be getting one of these once a quarter. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, once a quarter. You're going to be getting these. And I think there is either 4 or 6 bat suits total. So again, this is the Bronze Age bat suit. And what's really cool, I wish I could turn the lights off right now, but what's really cool is when you turn all the lights off, like there's actually a light switch in here, and it highlights the hell out of the bat suit. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell that the light is on, but if you just look now, I just turned it off. And when I turn it on, right? So you can almost kind of have your own little, like from the Batman animated series and how Batman would have all the suits, right? You can almost kind of do it like that and everything. It's really cool. It's like one of the coolest presents I've ever gotten. The fact that there's going to be more of these coming, I'm looking forward to it. I was saying to my wife, I was like, man, I'm kind of running out of room here. Like, where am I going to put this? And she said to me, well, don't you still got that other shelf? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I do. And she's like, yeah, why don't you just set up that shelf and then put all the bat suits on that and put it in the background somewhere? I'm like, okay, yeah, that'll work. So I'm definitely going to be doing that. And no, for those of you that's curious, there's no Batman in here. It's just literally the bat suits that I have coming to me. That's going to be in this type of case. No, you cannot open it up and take the bat suit out. That's not what it's meant for. It is specifically for displaying purposes. That's it. That's all it's for. It is displaying purposes. So, yeah, I had to show you guys that. By the way, for those of you that's playing WWE Supercard, how are you all doing on the CM Punk event? I know that there were some people. Let me put this somewhere else because it's like I'm not trying to stay still. I know that there are some of you guys that are complaining over the fact that you're not getting enough CM Punk flags. And, you know, I was seeing this as a recurring theme for a lot of people that were complaining. I couldn't help but look at the comments and go, well, are you guys actually grinding? Because if you want to be able to look, if you just play casually and you just want a CM Punk card, then 150, you know, that's like easy. That's very easy if you're just playing casually. But if you're trying to pro a CM Punk card, right? So obviously you need 300 CM Punk flags. All right, then you got to do some serious grinding. So, you know, to my whole point, you know, as soon as you saw Ring Domination drop, y'all should have been grinding the hell out of that, especially if you had got the premium pass. I mean, you're knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone anyway, right? You're getting all the points for the battle pass so you can rack up as many rewards as possible, while at the same time maximizing all the draft picks that you can get to essentially pull from off the draft board, right? And then your main priority, as soon as it dropped, should have been the 24/7 mode. Priority 1 should have been given to the 24/7 game mode. And you know, once you get up to, 10 wins, you get 3 CM Punk flags. And just every 30 minutes, it seems like you got to do a 24/7 title defense. And I mean, those 3 flags, that adds up. That adds up, right? So what y'all should have been doing was, once you're done in 24/7, you've defended the title, y'all then should have been going into Ring Domination, get some of those cards, especially if you're at least the Crucible level, get some of those cards. Then you go play PvP, whatever mode. For me, I recommend War because you could just be in and out. Okay. And while you're doing all that, you can be setting yourself up for another 24/7 title defense. Like, but your serious grinding is going to be from the 24/7 mode, and besides that, doing what you can to get the maximum for the draft picks, so you can get the Punk cards. That's how you were supposed to be doing it. So, future reference. Whenever you see an event drops and they tell you, hey, you'll be able to, get these ingredients so you can turn them in and get this card. If you ever see that something like ring domination or 24/7 mode is where you want to make sure that all that priority is being given to that 24/7 mode and go from there. So look, y'all got till Wednesday. It's a lot at this point, especially if you're just now starting. It's pretty much like you can. I'm like this. If you at least have almost 150 CM Punk flags, the game mode ends on Wednesday, meaning that's it. Like, if you didn't get CM Punk by now, that's it. It's over and done. You won't be able to pull any more flags. If you got at least 150 right now, I would say grind your ass off, put in the work already. But yeah, it was just weird seeing all the people that were complaining about it, because, like, I'm going, shit. I did that, like, free to play. I spent, because I know there's a lot of RNG with those other packs that they got going on for a chance to get a CM Punk card. I'm like, I don't really like RNG like that. Unless somebody gives me money, like, I'm good. I'm going to just grind it out. I've got over, what is it now? I think now I'm up to over 250 CM Punk flags. So I'm going to be able to definitely, way before Wednesday, I'm definitely going to be able to get a pro card. I wish I could get one more just so I can go level 1, level 2, and 3. You know what I'm talking about, T1, T2, T3 basically, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get that. Which sucks, but it is what it is. But yeah, I've been having fun. I've been watching Batman the animated series while I'm playing it, and letting the dogs out, letting them go use it, playing it in between. At work, playing it in between, taking a break at work, playing it in between. It's like you just got to find the right moments and freaking get it in there, because it seems like the game, when it comes to 24/7 mode and defending the title, it seems like you get a reprieve for a handful of hours, but it kind of seems like after a certain amount of hours, like if you haven't logged in and at least done one 24/7 title defense, you pretty much get, while you were away, right, you essentially get stripped of the title. Let's be real. You get stripped of the title when it's all said and done. Let's see here. Other than that, let's get to the Raw polling results before we get ready to close out. I said I was going to get to it later on in the show. Let's see what you guys had to say here. All right, let's go to X, formerly known as Twitter. All right, so we have 27% of you are giving Raw a thumbs up. Meanwhile, 42% of you are giving it a thumbs down, while 30% of you are staying in the middle. Top dog right now, thumbs down at 42%. Thank you guys that voted via X. Now let's see what you guys are saying via YouTube over in the community section. Very early on YouTube, I'm seeing right now 100% of the votes are saying thumbs up. So you've heard it. Feel free to vote if you haven't voted already. And to those that have voted, thank you in advance. And again, make sure you cast your vote in the 2023 Wrestling Awards. Let your voices be heard. And don't forget, you get an opportunity while you're filling that out to enter your name and your email address so you can be contacted if you happen to win the raffle drawing for a copy of WWE 2K24 when it becomes available and for your respective platform. So you'll be able to tell me straight up if you want to receive a physical copy of that game, or if you want to get a digital copy of that game, because I believe nowadays you can gift games for people digitally, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, you'll definitely be able to, lightning fast when it's all said and done. I think there was a couple of comments that came in. If you can bear with me a second here, I can go in and I can try to pull it up. Hang on here. You bear with me. I can try to pull it up here. I think what we'll do, because I want to try to have the show stay at under 2 hours and 30 minutes. I see something about, I can see, this is from Roberto. I can see Damian cashing in on Seth. However, I can also see Seth winning the world title back. There's no way CM Punk is facing Damian at WrestleMania instead of Seth. I no, I never did say anything like that. Is that the chatter that you're seeing amongst your friends or in the community? Because the way this is seeming right now is going to be Punk and Rollins for the championship. If anything, what I'm seeing happening, and I've said this before, Roberto, so apologies if you aren't aware, but what I've been calling for is CM Punk, Rollins at WrestleMania. Punk wins, but Damian successfully cashes in on CM Punk. And then after that, you pretty much got Punk feuding with Damian Priest and the Judgment Day. That whole, yeah. I went into great detail about that some weeks back. I'll try to see if I can pull up the exact episode, and I'll reference it here on the show next go around. But that's where I'm seeing things playing out. I don't see it going down the way you had suggested just now. But hey, next edition of the RCWR show is going to be coming at you guys Wednesday, January 17th, 2024. And look, man, as we get closer, because next Monday, that is it. It is on like Donkey Kong, my pretty babies. I got a full week of classes that begins. I've been trying to prepare you guys. Worst case scenario, your man is, depending on how much of a hectic schedule it is with the workload from the classes as far as homework goes. Worst case scenario, we'll scale back. We'll only do one show a week, and it will just be on Mondays, guaranteed. But my hopes is that the workload won't be too bad, and it's very manageable, and I'll still be able to do the Mondays and the Wednesdays for you guys. All right, I'll have some type of an announcement definitely next week. Midway, letting you guys know how it's looking and how things are looking. But FYI, look out for the polls that I had mentioned earlier. I'm gonna ask you guys in regards to the wrestling awards, and then in regards to Impact Showdown. If you guys want that show to come back, talking about all things TNA wrestling and everything, I'll have those go up both at the same time on Tuesday. And we'll just say we'll let it stay open until Sunday. I know I said Saturday, but let's let it stay open until Sunday. And that way everybody has enough time to respond, and I'll tally it up. And then we'll pretty much go from there. Be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR show. Appreciate the many of you that's been subscribing, sharing the content, all that good stuff these past several weeks. We've really been picking it up. Great start to 2024. Shout out to friends of the show, Anthony Missionary Thomas, Joe Numbers of Wrestling Soup. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to my man, Julian Cannon. He was gone for a good minute from social media, but he is back, and he is back talking Power, raising Canaan. He's back talking Walking Dead, because I know we've got the Michonne and Rick Grimes joint that's getting ready to drop in February. I think it's going to drop right before Valentine's Day, so that's kind of kind of interesting how they're going to be doing that and everything. I'm excited for that respected series. Check him out. Digiday, Nocturnal, Wrestling Court, Julian Cannon. Good guys, all of them. All the guys I'm mentioning, good guys, great dudes. Love those guys. That's going to do it until next go around. Wishing all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Gotcha. I was saying until next go around, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. See y'all next go around. Adios, y'all. Take care.